Welcome back, esports aficionados. I am Chris Crewman Newman. Joining me for this one is going to be RandomMCaster. We are here for the continuation of the World's rebroadcast. We have a best of one here in the group stage between Against All Authority, the French squad, going up against the representative from the Philippines, Pacific Esports. RandomMCaster, are you ready for some action here?
I am here, crewman. We had to go back in time to get this one 10 years ago. Can you remember that? As a minion, I had just barely spawned on the Rift, so I'm super excited to revisit my childhood memories here.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun one. Absolutely. Incidentally, as we're getting started here, we can jump forward to the present for just a moment, perhaps, as we are slowly making our way through Champ Select. But only one of the 10 players in this game is currently today still playing on a professional League of Legends team. Random, do you know which player that is?
I know two of the players, but neither of them, I think, are playing at the professional level anymore. But
Professional.
sOAZ?
sOAZ is an excellent guess. You're very, very close, but the answer is actually Yellowstar. Yellowstar is the only one of these 10 guys who is currently playing. We'll get to sOAZ in a second, though. But Yellowstar is over there on LDLCOL, playing in the French Regional League. Professional. I kind of would still consider it, but, up for debate, perhaps. But, one interesting thing to note here, RMC, is that sOAZ, your guest there, recently joined the team as the head coach. So those two guys are currently reunited, and they are trying to relive some former glory over there in the Ligue Française, the League of Legends. Pretty fun stuff.
They got their start, right? So it's good to see them back here. But Yellowstar, now that you've brought him up, crewman, I do want to point out that on Against All Authority, he wasn't their support player. He was actually their AD carry. So we will get to see him on an AD carry this game. But for now, bans are done, and some of them might look a little unfamiliar. I mean, J4's come back into meta recently, but Alistar at this time was a jungle ban, not necessarily a support ban coming through. Nocturne, Vladimir, Twisted Fate, Vayne, all these were what was considered OP in the day, and Nidalee being first pick from Against All Authority. Well, right now, it is such a strong power pick in the Season 1. Hotshot Nidalee GG, making it famous worldwide.
Absolutely. There. Good call out on the Alistar as well. A lot of our more modern fans, people who maybe perhaps started playing the game a little bit later on, certainly would not know that Alistar used to be a terror in the jungle, but he was indeed ban-worthy here in the Season 1 World Championship. But the Nidalee, like you said, definitely a power pick locked in right away here at the beginning. Over here on the other side for Pacific Esports, they have locked in the Corki and who's that?
That is old Soraka. Soraka, when she could actually have been run as a solo laner, the way her Q worked was very, very different. It was based around her rather than a heal. And her heals didn't used to cost health. It cost mana. But looking back on the other side, again, old splash arts here, crewman. Tell me you at least recognize these two.
I got these two, Random, no problem. That's going to be Nunu and Anivia. A little bit of snow synergy coming through here for Against All Authority. So very, very nice. But taking away a little bit of that now. The Ashe going to be picked away from them. So no more Freljord synergies for the French squad. Assuming it does get locked in here.
Fair enough. I wouldn't be surprised. And what we'd have to remember at this point in time, as it does get locked in, is that nowadays we'd be tempted to think Corki mid lane, Ashe bot lane. But welcome back to Season 1, where it's Ashe mid lane and Corki in the bot lane instead. If anything, I wouldn't be surprised to see the Ashe here for Ido on the side of Pacific Esports run the teleport, because the Enchanted Crystal Arrow down the mid lane followed up with the teleport used to be an exquisite combination that we used to see a lot of.
Definitely looking forward to seeing that one in action. Looks like the other lock-in here is going to be the Trundle, I do believe, for Pacific Esports. So looking at Against All Authority here to round out their team composition. Misfortune is the hover.
Yeah, and I mean, let's go back to that Trundle a little bit because very different Trundle pick, very different Trundle portrait from what we're used to currently. He got retconned sometime a while ago to become a troll king of the ice trolls, or in friendly or
Yes.
back in the day. This is Scrapyard Trundle. He used to just be your regular troll who lives in a junkyard. So you can kind of see the animation, the portrait rather different, but still a jungler back then. Not so much in the solo lane or the support now. Misfortune Sona. That is a combo that even till today here, crewman, we could still see
Oh, yeah.
being played.
Yeah, definitely. The Sona ultimate and the Misfortune ultimate have some very strong synergy between them. Sona locks him up. Misfortune knocks him down. Can also potentially work very well with the Anivia here, using that crystalline ice wall to block off any potential escape routes. But waiting on this last pick here, last pick of the draft here, RandomMCaster. What do you think is going to get locked in here? We still need us a top lane, correct?
Lane. Yes,
Yeah.
it would be a top lane. And in the current meta right now, the teams sort of go one of two ways. Either you get more team fight oriented teams like we're seeing against All Authority draft here with a lot of AoE, or we look for pick compositions. And Pacific Esports, they've definitely gone for the latter here. As yes, that is a top lane Malzahar. It is perfectly normal in the current meta. And usually when you see it drafted, you're looking for picks. They're looking for that enchanted crystal arrow into the nether grasp immediately to try and remove one target out of the fight right away and then force a 5v4 after.
Yeah, definitely going to be seeing if that can come through here for Pacific Esports this game. Trying to find those picks onto some out of position against all authority members. And on the side of against all authority, we've kind of touched on it a little bit already here, Random, about the potential potency of that team fight composition with, those big AoE ultimates. So definitely it appears to be some contrasting styles here between the two squads. And it's, of course, going to come down to who plays it better.
Yeah, and the first thing we have to look at right away is sort of the early laning phase between the two teams. Because back in Season 1, we didn't have Heralds, we didn't have Scuttles, and Dragons were very different back then. You didn't stack Dragons. Dragons were basically walking sacks of team gold, and teams often wouldn't fight over them because they were harder to take, and you needed to make sure the enemy team couldn't contest you. So your laning phase became extremely important. And against all authority, by going with this sort of wombo combo AoE composition, with the Sona, with the Nunu, with the Anivia and the Misfortune here, they might be sacrificing a little bit of their lane strength. The Nidalee, however, that is 100% for lane, and they're looking to try and take over the game from the top side and then buy time for everybody else to skill up. Maybe we'll start seeing big 5v5s at 15 minutes. Whereas for Pacific Esports here, I would like to say they've got stronger lanes, but it's a little hard to say that. Back then, Malzahar didn't have his shield, so laning was a little rough till he hits level 6. Your Ashe is not going to do well into your Anivia either. And even back then, Corki Soraka needed some time to scale. So I do feel like against all authority, kind of at the edge in pretty much all points of the game here.
Okay, well, I mean, it's going to come down to those picks, like you were mentioning before here, Random. Pacific Esports maybe down a little bit here, coming out of draft phase, coming out of Champ Select. So they're going to be needing to play around, wherever they're strong on the map, trying to find advantages wherever they can get them. And, potentially try and snowball early would probably be their best chance for victory, as the later we go into this one, the more threatening that big teamfight composition should become.
And speaking of snowballs here, crewman, let's talk about the junglers for both of these teams. Because if early action's going to happen, it's going to come out from them here. And this is old Nunu that Linak for Against All Authority is on. It's not the one with a giant snowball and you don't go Tokyo drifting down lanes for ganks. This is supportive Nunu, tanky Nunu, where the W was just Blood Bowl. You give yourself more attack speed, more movement speed. And when you play this Nunu, you're looking for just jungle control, aggression, even potentially early invades here. And we might see that as they're stacked up. Dabe?
Oh, Dabe is going right into all of these members. He's forced to flash over the wall very early on here to keep himself safe. Will be able to do so. But that is a summoner blown less than a minute into the game here by Pacific Esports.
Not gonna lie, Crewman, I miss those big sparkles on the spells like clairvoyance, like flash. You know where somebody went with that flash. Nowadays, you can pull some fancy tricks, but back in the day, you knew exactly where people were going. And against all authority, they're not giving up. They're looking for some cheese, and I'm loving it.
They're looking to press the pace of the game right out of the gates here, trying to put the pressure on to the Pacific Esports squad. Still 5 stacking in this bush here. Maybe trying to catch out some Pacific Esports members walking into bot lane here, perhaps. Looks like they will be taking a pretty safe route through the lane here. So it looks like this bush camp may not pay off.
Okay, I'm actually really surprised that this is what Pacific Esports decided to do here. It seems a little unusual, a little odd that they're not trying to contest, but I like it. Their team isn't strong enough to fight this year, and so they're taking the safe way back in. And not only that, they're now counter-invading to try and take the other side. You have to keep in mind, this was not a time where, vertical jungling was a thing, where you would lane swap very easily here. So the fact that they're doing this just shows how good they're in. And as I say that, they walk up. I was going to say how good they're in. Never mind. I take that back.
They really had me going there too, man. I was convinced that we were going to see some season 1 vertical jungling here, but doesn't end up being the case. Spear tossed out there. Couldn't quite find the mark with it though. As the Nidalee top is going to make her way into lane here. Start trying to lay that harass into the Malzahar. The Nunu is down here on bot side. Looks like he started with actually not the buff in his enemy's jungle. He started with that small camp off to the side there. It wasn't the Gromp. What was that camp?
I think those used to be raids, they were called. Before they were raptors, they were raids. I mean, they work the same way. They're a nice, quick, easy take here. And I'm actually a little bit surprised that Linak is going for a cheese level 2 into the mid lane. But I guess you're against an Ashe, so that's something that you can definitely look for here. But bot side, Kujaa already bullying out the Soraka Corki. And Gibbo, interestingly enough, didn't start with the infamous mana pots, which have now been removed from the game.
Yeah, so definitely some lane pressure coming out here from the bottom lane of Against All Authority. That Ashe is forced to go back to base as well after that gank coming through from Linak. So Dabe is here in mid lane, just trying to soak up some XP, while his mid laner is regaining that health back in the fountain. Forced to chug through some potions here as well. So definitely Against All Authority. They're on the front foot here in their early game. Seem to be winning at least mid and bot lane pretty handily. And as we kind of touched on earlier, we do expect the Nidalee to come out on top on the top side as well. So Pacific Esports, they're already finding themselves in a little bit of a hole here. What do you think should be their plan of attack here? What would you suggest, RandomMCaster?
I mean, for Pacific Esports right now, your mid lane is going to really, really struggle. Ashe into Anivia is a bit of a rough one unless you're willing to commit that flash. So I think for now, you just sit back and you power farm till level 6 as best you can. You can afford to miss some CS here. And you're just really looking for those levels. And because there's no scuttles, because there are very few global objectives in the early game, there's no early dragon sneaks here. The teams really aren't incentivized to fight. Farming is the most important thing to do here. In fact, actually, the vision game coming out Against All Authority here is surprisingly good. We already see 2 wards in the river right now. They really want to make sure that this Trundle can't find anything.
Well, we will see if Trundle is indeed hampered by that vision coming down from the French team here. Nunu is returning to his chickens, or his raptors, wraiths. Thank you. Oh my goodness. I'm a jungler, myself, so I'm just really used to calling the camps what they are now. So it's really throwing me for a loop right now. But
for sure. I'm a mid laner. I just remember the days back in season 1, season 2 where raids belong to your mid lane. So jungler, what's that? Those are my camps. I don't know what you're talking about. We'll have to see if that happens this game. It doesn't always happen with the likes of a Nunu coming through, and Trundle as well. I mean, Trundle, back in the day, there was what we called Wriggle's Lantern or Madred's Blood Razors. So those were sort of the power farming items where what that item would do is I think it was 25 or 20% chance that you just randomly just insta-kill a jungle creep pretty much. So I expect Dabe to pick that up, and once you get that with the Trundle, these junglers can definitely power farm. So Kind of waiting for that to happen a little bit, but again, another gank.
Oh, we got a 2v1 up here in top lane. We're in a little bit of trouble, finding himself in a 1v2, waiting for that spear from sOAZ. He's flashing over the wall. Wormy trying to stay alive. The flash follow from Linak. Spear does connect. There's the snowball. One more auto attack. Linak gets that first blood for the Against All Authority jungler.
Ooh, boy. I called for Pacific Esports to gank that top side, but it's Against Authority doing it first here. And that is very worrisome for them. A 1,000 gold lead already formed, and now Dabe looking for the bot lane.
He is looking for it. He's trying to do a little bit of cross map here. Yellowstar down to 50% HP. Dabe also getting extremely low. He's flashing away. He's trying to stay alive. Soraka trying to dish out the heals, trying to save her jungler. Now we've got Yellowstar flashing over the wall. He's trying to stay alive as well. Corky's flying over there. Needs one more auto attack. Does end up getting it. Kujaa trying to trade back here onto the Corky. He's able to escape into the brush. I don't think Sona has the damage here to finish the job. Linak is coming down, but I don't think he's going to be able to be in time to collect anything here. Everybody's escaping underneath the tower, and we will see the disengage come through here for Pacific Esports. But I gotta say, this tower is not looking so hot here, RMC. That thing looks to be in a little bit of trouble. The members may get back to base, but the tower cannot run away.
Yeah, and I think that's what Linak's waiting around for. Remember when I said Blood Boil right now gives you bonus attack speed and movement speed? You pair that with a Sona, with that Hymn of Valor, additional attack damage. They end up taking first turret down. But it's season 1 here, crewman, and there is no such thing as first brick gold. So all you really get is a longer lane.
Yeah, no turret plates either, of course. So it really is just a little bit more map control going over to AAA here. See what their bot lane decides to do. Yellowstar and Kujaa both kind of just chilling towards the bot side for now. Yellowstar moving up through the river now towards mid lane. Maybe trying to put a little bit of additional pressure on the Ashe now. Ido is going to find himself in a 1v2 situation.
1v many here, crewman. You can see
true.
Covering there as well.
He is.
I mean, it's a 7.5 minute turret take, right? Like even by current standards, that's really fast. So back in season 1, what we used to see a lot of is once the first turret goes around, that is what begins to unlock the lanes, and most of them are level 6. It's only really the bot laners in the jungle is not quite 6 yet. So they're trying to accelerate the pace of the game here. I love what I'm seeing from Against All Authority, and the question now is, how is Pacific going to respond? They've already lost half of that mid lane turret's health.
Yeah, Corky is still bot side here. He does not seem to be making any moves towards the mid lane. We do have Gibbo here on the Soraka, trying to help defend. Corky is just trying to farm away down there. He's trying to catch up. And looks like Yellowstar will rotate back down towards the bot side to catch this wave and prevent Corky from getting too much.
And Vi there on the Corky now level 6 here, so I'm expecting Yellowstar and Kujaa to hit 6 soon, and that's when we get to start seeing the fun really kick off. Because remember how we're talking about AOE there, crewman, from the side Against All Authority? Well, the initiator is going to be Kujaa on Sona.
Yeah, absolutely. The Sona does have the flash ready to go right now. Once she does tick over and hit that level 6 mark, going to be a lot of threat coming out from that Against All Authority support.
This is one of the fastest games I remember seeing in that. I don't recall the games going quite this quickly here in season 1. I thought it was much slower, but top side.
Oh, we got to flash in. Wormy's looking for it. Does get the nether grasp down onto sOAZ. He's in some trouble now. Dabe walking in, lands the chomp. sOAZ jumping away. He's trying to escape and will to. Nidalee's just too many dashes.
Oh boy, this is solo lane Nidalee's, folks. You just can't pin her down, and now the Nunu, the Anivia is roaming up as well. They get spotted on a ward, 2 wards here, and no Oracle's Elixir whatsoever. I'm a little bit surprised. Back in the day, Oracle's Elixir basically gave you sweepers, but it was permanent until you died.
Yeah, not in possession of any All Authority member there, so that attempted collapse will be spotted out. And the Malzahar and Trundle will be able to safely back off there, no problem. Yeah, definitely looks like top lane Nidalee was pretty frustrating to play against. I mean, are we okay down here? Vi's running away. Gibbo also escaping. Looks like they're going to be safe for now. But I mean, they did technically lock down the Nidalee. It just didn't matter because they couldn't kill her.
And that's kind of one of the problems with these sort of pick compositions here. If you're ahead, they work really well. And what on earth just happened?
Wormy is dead.
Turret.
Yeah. Didn't really see what happened there. but I'm guessing a spear was involved somehow.
Just maybe a pounce as well, but
I strongly suspect.
Linak.
Vi's in some trouble now. Does he have the Valkyrie? He does.
Okay.
Use it to kid himself that little bit of extra space, and he is going to be fine. That is going to be Linak not finding anything in bot lane this time around. But this gold lead is continuing to expand here, RMC. We're up to closing in on 4K now, actually. And there it is. That's 4,500 gold lead for Against All Authority. And oh, man. Okay, well, Kujaa just went down. Again, we're a little bit late to the action here with the spectator camera, but that is what Pacific Esports need, right? They need to find these picks to try and get themselves back in it.
Yeah, a little bit surprised was Kujaa going down instead of Kujaa initiating, but Crewman, there's no directed cam, unfortunately, back in the day. And, stun lands onto Wormy.
Oh, Wormy is stunned. There's a wall there coming out as well. Wormy is running out of HP real fast here. He's trying to trade back. MoMa getting extremely low, but he's a Nivea. He has the passive sOAZ getting the last hit. Oh, merci beaucoup pour l'argent, monsieur. He's on his way straight to the bank. Is up here. Try and catch this top wave, but he's taking a very greedy path. He's actually going to get locked up here by the Anivia, and was forced to actually didn't have the flash. I guess he was on the correct side of the ice wall there and is able to survive, but loses most of his health and is not going to be able to defend that top lane tier 2.
It's still fairly healthy. Anivia can't really take it that quick. So for now, they fended off, and Ghost on Ido barely helps him survive. You know what? I'm a little sad we didn't see the teleport Ash, but you can't argue with results here, and it did save the Ashes there. Funnily enough, Crewman, you say merci beaucoup, but actually, I'll hold that thought.
Linak's now in some trouble. He's going to get locked up here by the Malzahar. There's a nice enchanted crystal arrow to set this one up. He's flashing away now, and Linak is out of there. Nunu is just too fast. There's that W you were talking about earlier there, RMC. Give him a little bit of extra movement speed. Help him just roll on out of there.
Wormy must be so tilted now. That's just the third time the Nethergrass didn't get a kill. And I mean, the top one, at least he killed MoMa, popped the passive. But MoMa actually is the one player in Against All Authority who isn't French. He's actually German.
Fair enough. But it was sOAZ that got the kill. sOAZ is the one who got paid. So that's why it works.
And we all know Mr. Baguette. I mean, it's what he built his brand off of, back on Fnatic here. So for now, though, with that big a lead, with enough kills, they're finally daring to look at Dragon here. And Dragon, look how slowly it goes down right now. The health bar looks small. The Dragon looks small, but it does a lot of damage.
It's a bit deceptive, yeah, but it will go down eventually in favor of Against All Authority. But now MoMa is getting a little bit caught out. Here comes the Sona ultimate. Dabi getting extremely low here. He's trying to flash away, but it's not going to help him. He'll start flash and follow over the wall. Gets the last hit. Continuing the chase now is Against All Authority. Gibbo is pretty low. He's got 1 HP. Oh, Soraka barely survives that one. sOAZ with the spear accuracy quite high so far this game. And Against All Authority, they're going to continue to press this advantage.
I think with current Soraka, Gibbo dies there. But back in the day, you just saw it. Soraka can heal herself. So does get out fairly safely here, but there's not enough members to defend here. They don't have a true tank either. And Against All Authority, as we're approaching the 14-minute mark, are starting to turn the screws. They're looking for these inner turrets, and they've taken over this map.
They really, really have, RMC. There are not a lot of safe places on Summoner's Rift right now for Pacific Esports. They are definitely struggling a little bit. And as we've discussed multiple times already here, they do not have the stronger team fight composition. So, as they run out of space, as they are finding themselves with fewer and fewer options, it's just going to get more and more difficult for them to try and find a way back in here.
And for the foreseeable future, Crewman, it's probably not going to happen. It's only 15 minutes into the game, so we take stock of items right now. For the side of Against All Authority, you've got a BF Sword on Yellowstar. No completed item yet. Oh, I love seeing all these GP5 items. I miss them so much. Heart of Gold for Linak here. Philo Stone or Philosopher's Stone for Kujaa as well. But really, it's Pacific's items you need to look at, because the other ones who are behind and need to come back in. And they're sitting on a Cage's lucky pick for Gibbo here. The BF Sword for Vi. Look at Ido. Ido's sitting on Swifty boots. Boots of swiftness. You run faster, great. But you're not doing damage. You can't get kills. And Regal's Lantern, the item we were talking about for Dabe here, it's a farming item. Yes, it gives you a little bit of armor, a little bit of damage, but not enough to secure kills. And Wormy on a Catalyst, no damage there.
I mean, that's exactly what we've been seeing, right, man? It's every time that Pacific Esports do find somebody out of position, they just don't have the damage to take them out. So it's just a little bit of an unfortunate situation for them. They really are just going to need to complete those items before they can realistically, find some kill pressure onto these Against All Authority members. Looks like top lane tier 2 is going to be the next target. Pacific Esports, they don't even feel confident to walk up. They know they can't win the fight, so they're just going to have to give this one up here. It's another turret going down.
Yeah, I mean, right now, Pacific Esports, they're also just watching on spectator view here, just looking at aAA are pushing in right now. And you have the Ash Arrow. You've got to be the ones making aggressive movements. One bullet time just zoned off the entire team.
That was an unironic zoning MF ult there to prevent the inhibitor turret defense. It is getting extremely low here. That tier 3 turret in the top lane down to... Oh, look, we got the team fight breaking out here. That's so much damage coming out right now. There's a little bit of healing coming through for MoMa. He's trying to do a little bit of retreating here. There's the stun onto Dabe. Maybe in some trouble. He will be able to back away. Wormy still sitting on the Nether Grasp right now, still holding that Malzahar ultimate. The perfect moment. Not going to be able to find it, though. Against All Authority, they're going to back off for now. They weren't quite able to take down that turret. They did get pretty close.
Signs of life here from Pacific Esports, and you love to see it. Ideally, they would have been able to get some kills off the back end of it. Bounty isn't really a thing right now, so you just get kind of a set amount of gold. But you know what? Being able to push them off your inhibitor turret is still a massive deal. And a lot of that's coming off the fact that Malzahar back then, W wasn't spawn voidlings. You don't create voidlings that way. That was just a passive. They pop out when you cast 4 spells. That's it. What it used to be was the null zone. So it does percent health damage in an area. And that's what we saw combined with that Enchanted Crystal Arrow. And that skills off your opponent's health. So that's why I want to see Pacific Esports start making some of these proactive plays, trying to find picks. They do have the tools.
Yeah, absolutely. We're starting to get a little bit stronger here. Still no completed items just yet. But they must be getting closer here on the side of Pacific Esports. It looks like Against All Authority have moved down towards the bot lane. The tier 3 turret proved to be a bit too difficult. So they're going to just go ahead and take this last tier 2 for now. But it looks like Pacific Esports may have something to say about this. There's some CC coming down onto Linak. He's in trouble. He's running out of HP. He's low. He's down. He's taken out. That's 5v4 on the map now for Pacific Esports. Yellowstar also getting extremely low. We're continuing the chase here, but Dabe has also fallen. It's a trade of junglers. Vi has gone down as well. Against All Authority fighting back here. They're just a little bit too far ahead. Walt's a little bit too heavy there. They were able to come out on top in that team fight. Let's see what the next play is here.
And because there are no bounties, crewmen, it sucks to say this, but trading 1 for 2 isn't exactly worth it, even under your turret. AAA are still going to be okay with that particular trade in terms of just losing the 1 member here. And on top of that, they lost Linak. It was the tank. Big whoop, right? You can still wave clear. You're still safe in the meantime, and they can just keep repeating this with the siege and with the Nidalee as well. I mean, the siege potential from the spears back then were absolutely nutty. So if they actually do set up and let sOAZ soften them up before trying to force those turrets, I'm afraid for Pacific Esports right now.
Yeah, they are definitely still in a very tight spot here, no doubt about it. As sOAZ is going to spot out Dabe here in the jungle. Going to land a spear onto him. That's Trundle down 50% HP. He's getting pinned in a little bit here, and he is going to be going down. MoMa picking up the last hit on that one. Rush Pacific Esports trying to run away now, trying to escape. MoMa is on the chase here, flash forward, trying to find it. Can't quite do so, though. No more CC coming down. Just the 1 kill for now. Anivia did use the flash there. Baron is going to be on the map very, very shortly here, RMC. Do you expect Against All Authority just kind of move straight towards that?
I mean, technically, Baron's on the map already. Season 1 Baron spawned sooner in the past, but it's not something I think they're even going to look at here. It's an opportunity for them to throw. They're so far ahead right now that they can siege. They're 10,000 gold ahead at this point, so they just need to walk it in with this Nidalee here. They can fall back on it, but I expect them to fall back on it. While they're ahead, I expect to continue to see them sieging like they have been, or splitting as they are leaving Yellowstar to try and go for that low health top inhibitor turret.
Yeah, absolutely. We are continuing the siege here for Against All Authority. We do have, like you said, Yellowstar up there in the top lane. He's moving back got the rest of his team joining up with him now. So it looks like this top lane tier 3 is going to be the target. Just a couple of more auto attacks. There it goes. And sOAZ looking for something off on the side here, but he's getting pretty low. The Enchanted Crystal Arrow coming out there, locking up the Nidalee. Nidalee jumping away, is able to keep herself safe here. Linak throwing out the absolute 0. He's going to be forced to run away now as well. No casualties so far in this one, RMC. Linak walking forward. Here comes the Nivea Q. Not going to find the mark there. Inhibitor is exposed, but low health bars for Against All Authority means I think it might be ill-advised to try and continue this fight right now. They're going to rotate down towards mid.
Just reset. Dragon is up and available as well. That's more gold for you to take. And Crewman, I don't know if it's the perspective, whether it's because we're not zoomed out as we are nowadays, but I swear that Glacial Storm looks bigger than it should be. It's taking up almost the entire lane. And watching Pacific have to try and play around that, I think really stopped them from following up. sOAZ was so close to dead. Kujaa took a bunch of damage. Yellowstar forced out, and they just can't get through the Glacial Storm.
Yeah, it's that AoE, man. It's just too powerful. It's getting really overwhelming right now for Pacific Esports. There's the power of the Anivia, the Nunu, the bullet time from the Misfortune. It's just so difficult to deal with at this point in the game around these, big important objectives. Looks like Dragon control is held by Pacific Esports right now. They do have complete control over this bottom side river, and they should be able to take this one out no problem. But they've sacrificed mid priority for it here, RMC, and Against All Authority is taking full advantage. They're running it straight down the mid lane.
Yeah, and if you try and recall right now, by the time you get back to base, that turret's going to be gone. And I don't know if you want to fight them on an open inhibitor. They're going to have to try as the recalls do get completed here. And Ido is late. Shoot the arrow and then recall.
Oh, it's going to be a double inhibitor most likely here for Against All Authority as mid lane does go down here. Top lane down to 50% HP. That's a lot of damage coming down. Oh my God, Gibbo just evaporated. I didn't even see him die. He just, poof, he's gone.
I thought that was a flush. It wasn't. It was him dying.
It was a death. Yeah, I know. That was my first thought as well. I was like, where'd he go? Oh, he's dead. Bot lane, only lane remaining with any structures for the Philippine squad here. They are going to be able to push these minions off of their Nexus turrets, but Against All Authority, they are not giving up control of this one here. Gold lead over 10,000 now.
Oh, man. And what can they do, right? You've got supers who will be pushing down mid, top soon enough here. And supers haven't changed. I mean, they're still an absolute menace even at this point in the game. And with the spears, sOAZ just needs to chuck them out, and you'll start seeing the health bars drop if any of them land.
Yeah, absolutely. So he's stepping forward now. Tosses one out. Can't find it that time. But this tier 3 bot lane tower is definitely taking a beating. And there it goes. There are no inhibitor turrets remaining for Pacific Esports. The last inhibitor currently under fire. It will be taken out as well. That's a triple inhibitor for Against All Authority. They're looking to put the final finishing touches on this one as they move forward towards the Nexus Tower. Pacific Esports huddling together, trying to group up for safety, but the wall separates them. The first Nexus turret has already gone down. Pacific Esports, you got to try something here. You got to try and win this game somehow. You got to try and push them off the Nexus. The other turret is down. It's only the Nexus remaining Against All Authority. They're moving in here, trying to finish off Pacific Esports. Here comes another grasp. They did pick up the kill onto Linak, but it's just the take. They got plenty of damage. Nexus is going down, and Against All Authority, they take the dub.
Better focus wins. Congrats, aAa.
Absolutely. It was a pleasure casting with you here, RandomMCaster. I had a wonderful time. And congrats to Against All Authority. We are going to be continuing, of course, here with the Season 1 World Championship immediately after this game. So please enjoy everyone out there in Twitch chat. And thank you very much for watching.